The news only came out this week that Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez had a private meeting with Saudi boxing boss Turki Al-Sheikh. They decided to post on social media on different days to hide the news of a heated argument that happened during the meeting. Crawford had been patiently waiting to see if Turki could convince Canelo to accept a big money deal to make their fight happen. It made sense for all three of them to meet in person to have a real conversation without media pressure. The goal was to focus on making the fight a reality. However, Canelo was demanding a high price that Crawford felt was unrealistic, which led to a short argument between the two fighters.
We're not talking about yet about the fight. Me and Turk know each other, and then we wanna see what happens.
Things were about to get out of control. Turki Al-Sheikh stepped in and calmed the situation. After his intervention, Canelo lowered his price, which made an agreement possible. This happened shortly before both fighters attended the Ring Magazine Awards in London over the weekend. During the event, they also had further discussions with the powerful Turki Al-Sheikh about the fight. According to a report by well-known ESPN boxing journalist Julius Julianis, the two fighters have already reached an agreement.
You and Terence Crawford as one of the top 5 fights that he wants to see this year. Is that a fight that you're considering now?
We'll see. We'll see.
He claims that both fighters are now expected to meet in September in Las Vegas, as the talks moved forward quickly over the weekend. Turki Al-Sheikh himself seemed to confirm this by telling Ring Magazine, "The ring is the Bible of boxing, and we are close to seeing white smoke on the horizon. 2025 will be a crazy year for boxing, and I mean it." Earlier, Al-Sheikh had paused the negotiations because he couldn't get past a disagreement with Alvarez, but now both fighters were seen smiling and posing with him after the meeting, a clear sign that things have moved in a positive direction.
We'll see. We want to talk about it, sit down really well and figure out something.
I know you thought he was kind of a loser.
A fight between these two talented champions would be one of the most exciting matchups in boxing right now. The potential clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is making major headlines across the boxing world. Although the fight hasn't been officially confirmed yet, fans around the globe are eager to see these two pound-for-pound stars face off in the ring. Canelo last fought in September, where he successfully defended his unified super middleweight titles against Edgar Berlanga. On the other hand, Crawford recently moved up to 154 pounds and defeated Israel Madrimov to win the WBA super welterweight championship.
There's loads of things going around at the moment, including a big clash with Canelo Alvarez. Can you tell us what's going on in that situation, and can that happen next?
We shall see.
Talks about the fight first. Started after Terence "Bud" Crawford defeated WBA light middleweight champion Israel Madrimov last August, adding the 154-pound title to his collection across 3 other weight divisions. Soon after Crawford's big win, Canelo Alvarez also successfully defended his WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight titles, earning another dominant victory in a division he has ruled since 2021.
Come my way, and me and him get in the ring, then it'll be an electrifying fight, you know.
As both fighters prepare for what could be the biggest fight of their careers, the 36-year-old two-time undisputed champion Terence Crawford has already spoken out with a bold message. Posting on social media and addressing Canelo Alvarez, Crawford promised to surprise the world and win against the Mexican superstar when they finally meet in the ring. He said, "I'm going to shock the world. Watch, the best is yet to come. I had this in my back pocket the whole time."
It won't be like any other fight that he's fought recently, and it'll be a
Although Terence Crawford remains confident, it will be a huge challenge for him, as he'll need to move up 2 weight divisions to face the 34-year-old Mexican star, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo has had great success at super middleweight, with big wins over Gennady Golovkin, Caleb Plant, and Jermell Charlo. Despite the weight difference between them, the potential for this super fight continues to be one of the most talked about topics.
I believe.
Any doubt in your mind that you beat him?
Of course I beat him. it ain't no doubt in my mind that I won't beat anybody that I step in.
Amir Khan, the only boxer to have faced both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, shared his unique view on the potential fight during an interview with Box Nation. Khan, who fought Canelo at a catchweight of 155 pounds, acknowledged the big size advantage. Canelo would have. Canelo is a beast, man. I fought both of those guys, and I believe size always matters. That's why we have weight divisions, Khan explained. Terence is special, don't get me wrong, but getting hit by someone like Canelo is a whole different level. Canelo, the WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight champion, recently landed powerful punches on Edgar Berlanga during the second round of their title fight at T-Mobile Arena on September 14th, 2024 in Las Vegas.
Crawford, and I think Canelo is a beast that way. Honestly, I would advise Crawford not to.
Khan, who suffered a sixth-round stoppage loss to Canelo, emphasized the physical challenge of facing the Mexican superstar. What a fight that would be. I'll root for my boy Terence and want him to win, but it would be tough. Does he need that fight? No, I don't think he does. He's done so well in his career and has beaten everyone. He's untouchable, one of the best pound for pound. But if it's a big payday, I understand why it would be made. Why take a risky fight for less money when you can have a seriously tough fight for serious money? Despite the risks, Khan praised Crawford's skills, noting that he can compete at the highest level.
Cholo playing out.
I think Canelo just outboxes. Well, no, doesn't outbox him, but I think just outpowers him and beats him to the punch. And
amid growing speculation, Canelo Alvarez responded to the rumors with a brief but interesting comment: "I'm open to talk." While his message leaves room for interpretation, it has only increased excitement among boxing fans, suggesting that this mega fight might be getting closer to becoming a reality when they meet in September. Shakur Stevenson, the WBC lightweight champion, believes Terence Crawford will defeat Canelo Alvarez and make it an easy fight. Stevenson has been saying for years that
Canelo and obviously your good friend, mentor, Terence Crawford. A lot of people a few years ago would have said that's crazy, but I think everybody, when they see the talent of
Terence Crawford, the WBA champion in the 154-pound light middleweight division, has promised to gain 14 pounds to compete in this highly anticipated fight, which could be the highest-paying day of his career. When asked if he believes Crawford will win, Shakur Stevenson was confident in his response. "I've been saying this for years now, and I'm probably the first one to say it even before Terence did. I've always thought that Crawford's style beats Canelo," Stevenson told Talk Sport Boxing. Stevenson seems to think Crawford will stand toe-to-toe and trade punches with Canelo in September. However, that scenario seems unlikely, considering Crawford's usual approach when facing powerful punchers.
He's a special fighter, pound for pound. I think many will say #1 in the world, alongside the likes of people like yourself and that great list that we've got at the minute. Is he the man to beat Canelo?
Crawford usually relies on movement, using his jab and jumping in to land shots before quickly repositioning. He doesn't stay still or engage in relentless attacks. His aggressive performance against Errol Spence was more of an exception, mainly because Spence wasn't at his best after his car accident. It would be a little over a year, 13 months. "You've got to be very careful if you're taking a fight above 160 pounds, said Chris Mannix on his YouTube channel, discussing the possibility of Crawford taking a tune-up fight. It seems unlikely that Crawford will risk a tune-up fight against a super middleweight before facing Canelo Alvarez in September.
Yes, honestly, if anybody could jump up in weight classes and do it, it's Terence Crawford. I don't know nobody who is mentally...
If Crawford does compete in this weight class, it would likely be at a catchweight, probably around 163 or 164 pounds, against a middleweight moving up. Possible opponents could include Aaron McKenna, Liam Smith, Austin Williams, or Kieron Davis, fighters who pose minimal threat to Crawford and are ranked lower in the middleweight division. Hall of Famer and ESPN boxing analyst Timothy Bradley Jr. favors Terence Crawford in a matchup against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mentally as strong as Terence Crawford, so I can't wait to watch it.
Your gym's an exciting gym. You all bounce off each other. You got likes of Keyshawn. Everyone's sort of mixing. That mentality in that gym, what is it? How is it different from any other gym? I've got to ask you.
Bradley took to his YouTube channel to argue in favor of Crawford. Everyone keeps talking about the weight, Bradley said. Indeed, Crawford only recently moved up from welterweight to 154 pounds, while Alvarez has been fighting at 168 pounds since late 2020. Oh, he's going to knock him out. When was the last time Canelo knocked someone out? Bradley asked. It has been a while since
told me to study Canelo, study Crawford. I'm letting y'all know right now, he about to beat the brakes off of Canelo Alvarez.
Since then, Canelo has failed to knock out established opponents like Dmitry Bivol in a loss and a 40-year-old Gennady Golovkin. He has also gone the distance with opponents considered far below his skill level, such as John Ryder, Jaime Munguia, Edgar Berlanga, and Jermell Charlo. While Charlo, a junior middleweight, went the distance with Canelo, he was never really competitive with the super middleweight king. You can quit saying he's going to knock Crawford out, Bradley said. Come on, man. Didn't we just see Alexander Usyk fight Tyson Fury, who was, quote-unquote, 50 pounds heavier? Canelo's the same height as Crawford. He's not a natural 168-pounder. Usyk is a great fighter, absolutely. But you know who else is a great one? Crawford. The great ones know how to figure.
Yes, he is. Number 2, Devin Haney. You want to get back, man, go back to your roots, bro. Go back to where you started, bro.
Bradley pointed out that Crawford has a 74-inch reach, 3.5 inches longer than Canelo's, and he's great at reducing his opponent's output with counterpunching. Alvarez is already a low-output fighter, and Bradley believes Crawford can win a decision by working from a distance, using straight punches in between Canelo's looping hooks and wearing Canelo out as the fight goes on. Don't go running away from the fight now, Canelo, Bradley said, referring to the unified super middleweight champion's apparent avoidance of David Benavidez. Imitating Canelo's higher-pitched voice, Bradley said, "Remember what you..." While many boxing analysts share Bradley's opinion, most people in the fight...
Where'd you start? You started in Mexico, man. Go back, get one of those guys out of there, man. Go back, start there. That's where you start. Go back to your roots, bro. Get some of that humble pie, bro. Go back, start where you started. Start where you started.
Bradley, known for his strong opinions, is confident in his unpopular view. "I'm going to get back to my Haterade," he said towards the end of the video, sipping his drink. "You already know." Whether the boxing world will see a Canelo-Crawford matchup depends on Alvarez. Crawford, who became the undisputed welterweight champion in July 2023 after stopping Errol Spence Jr. in 9 rounds, made even more history earlier this year when he became a 4-division champion by defeating Israel Madrimov to win the WBA title at 154 pounds. Meanwhile, Mexican icon Canelo has also enjoyed plenty of success in recent years.
With Canelo, obviously, he had his fight with Edgar Berlanga announced recently. Not received necessarily a positive outcome and reaction he'd have liked. What did you make of the Canelo?
After winning the undisputed super middleweight title in 2021, Canelo Alvarez fell short in a challenge against the then WBA light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol. However, the 34-year-old has since won 5 straight fights, defeating the likes of Gennady Golovkin, Jermell Charlo, and Edgar Berlanga. Legendary boxing trainer-turned-analyst Teddy Atlas shared his thoughts with Fight Hub TV on the potential mega-fight between the two stars. He said he would find it hard to go against the American southpaw. Very few people have the appetite or inclination to challenge themselves. Mr. Crawford does. I ain't never going against that guy.
But listen, I think Berlanga's a talented kid who's getting better. He's improved recently. I think he still needs more seasoning, but I see an improvement in him. He is a talented kid.
It's a tremendous challenge. Because Canelo is a great fighter, bigger and stronger, and he can punch and time you. But just because you're smaller doesn't mean you can't win. Crawford will come up with a game plan that will make the other guy use his size, said Brian McIntyre, who has guided Terence Crawford to world titles in 4 weight divisions. McIntyre
in some shape. make sure the legs are in good shape because you have to side-to-side movement.
Is that a fight you would recommend for him?
But Crawford defeated Israel Madrimov to become the champion at 154 pounds, and now he's targeting a fight against the Mexican icon, Canelo Alvarez. Crawford has accomplished many big things in boxing, but a victory over Canelo would be his biggest achievement. The super middleweight world champion has only lost twice, against Dimitri Bivol and Floyd Mayweather. McIntyre, Crawford's trainer, will be studying the Bivol fight if a Crawford versus Canelo bout happens. He made him move his feet. If the fight ever happens, that's the fight I would go back and watch, said Mac.
It's real simple. You just got to know boxing in order for you to be able to say that. Hey, Terence gonna get in there and do what he needs to do. Perform.
Also look at Mayweather versus Canelo, said WBN, who believes Crawford's name is on a short list of potential opponents for the Mexican superstar. After months of media coverage about the potential fight, Crawford has shown persistence in pursuing the matchup, even willing to move up 2 weight classes to prove his dominance. Crawford is fully aware of the physical disadvantage he'll face against Canelo, acknowledging that size will be crucial in the fight. However, he remains confident in his ability to overcome this challenge and impose his boxing style. Some analysts are skeptical about Crawford's ability to compete effectively at super middleweight. This concern comes in part from his most recent fight, a points victory over Israel Madrimov at super welterweight.
Hardcore boxing fans, they know Crawford can beat Canelo just like they knew Bud was going to beat Spence. It's real simple. Real simple. You just got to know boxing in order for you to be able to say that.
Despite concerns, the potential fight between Canelo and Crawford has captured the imagination of boxing fans. The mix of power, speed, technique, and charisma from both fighters sets the stage for what could be an unforgettable spectacle. Canelo Alvarez has made a tradition of having 2 fights a year in May and September, with the September fight often taking place on the weekend that celebrates Mexico's independence. Since 2022, he has scheduled his fights in these 2 months, and it's expected he will do so again. This makes it more interesting to see who his next opponent will be, especially since there is a lack of interest in facing David Benavidez, the mandatory WBC 168-pound challenger. Terence Crawford now seems like a strong option for Canelo's first fight.
Are we still waiting for that second fight to happen?
I don't know, man. I don't know. They still got to work things out and see where they go from there.
I know Tim Cruz named him for the run out there as an opponent. What do you want Crawford to do?
Although it seems the fight is more about media attention than actual competition, as Crawford fights at 154 pounds, 2 weight classes below Canelo, both Crawford and his promoter, Sheikh Turki Alec, are trying to convince Alvarez to accept the fight. Alvarez had been asking for $150 million for the bout. Given how unconvincing a fight against Crawford might be in sporting terms, along with Canelo's evasiveness against Benavidez at 175 pounds, Saul Alvarez could have other interesting options for the start of 2025. One of those names mentioned for Canelo is Christian Nilly, a 29-year-old French boxer with an undefeated 28-0 record. In his last fight, he defeated Sergey Derevianchenko in August and is seen a possibility that was already ruled out for September is William Skull, 23-0, the International Boxing Federation challenger. The IBF removed the undisputed title from Canelo Alvarez for refusing to fight the Cuban and stripped him of his world title. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, McIntyre gave high praise to the undefeated Crawford, who is linked to facing Canelo in May or September. Crawford has all the tools to win a 3rd weight class undisputed crown. Any hardcore boxing fan knows Crawford can beat Canelo. You have to know boxing to be able
believes in hardcore boxing fans, they know Crawford can beat Canelo just like they knew Bud was going to beat Spence.
Regarding Conor Benn's performance, he said, "I think he looked like trash. I didn't watch the fight, but some of the coaches were watching it while I was driving. They just said he looked like trash. I know Pete Dobson really well, and he gave him a tough fight, but I don't think much of Ben. I really don't know.
What's your thoughts on that?
Let's go. Let's go. Hey, that's a challenge to me too, as a trainer. I want to try to, outthink Eddie Reynoso over.
When asked about Ben saying he wants to fight Tank Davis next, McIntyre responded, why would he go down there and pick on guys at 135 and 141? Why not challenge guys at 147 and call those guys out? If you really want to fight somebody, fight the best. When discussing Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman, McIntyre said, I think it's going to be a good fight. Tszyu has the momentum because Keith has been out for a while.